Okay, Nureen, we're so happy to have you here. So let's start off with our traditional cherry and a pit. So tell us either one, whatever you want to do first. If you want
Yeah,
to tell us pit first or cherry first, but tell us something great that happened to you this past week and
yeah.
something not as great.
I think what's happened to me this week that's been great is my Women's Fit program. They've been really killing it. And we finished the last session of Samba and it was really fun because we got to like try out new techniques and come together and make our own choreo. So that was really fun. So I feel like that was like the finishing of a 12 weeks of the ladies doing Samba, which is literally one of the dances that I do more or less every week. So yes, it's been really fun with that.
Awesome. I love that. What's your
Yeah.
pit?
My revision on statistics right now, but I'm getting better. So I've got two exams for my master's, epidemiology and statistics, and Stata was beating my ass, but right now it's much better. Today I was like, oh my God, it's a lot. But it's okay. My friend was like, You got this, girl." I was like, okay, yeah, I got it. So I will be finishing this and then going back into revision again. But I think even though it's like a sour pit, I feel like I've definitely gone further than I did last year of understanding. So for that, I feel like it's a bit of a cherry. It will be a cherry.
We
Yeah.
love that. We can
That's a
always turn a
massive
pit,
cherry.
yeah, into a
Yeah.
cherry. That's great.
Yeah.
It sounds you're very educated, Nureen. I can already tell right off the bat. So, if you could probably teach me a thing or two on nutrition and cooking. I'm actually cooking a turkey later today. That's my cherry, by the way.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, let's start off with your Trainwell experience because I'll give the
Yeah.
listeners a little more context. We had our CEO reach out to us and say that we really want this lady on talking about food, nutrition. And they mentioned this study, which we'll get into, I'm sure. But I have to ask, how did you find Trainwell to begin with?
You know what? You always have those ads, right? Like on YouTube, and you see like YouTubers that you watch, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm doing train well," and then you're like, "Oh, should I really like take it on?" Because you have those 2 weeks for free, and then afterwards you pay. And I was in like a catch-22 with my exercise because I always done like strength training, but I got to a stage where I was really struggling with routine of like what to actually do. And I see this still in the gym where you go to the gym, you're like have every intention to work out, and then you're like, what videos I need to follow? I need some more direction. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to try train well. In fact, I matched to my trainer twice because initially I was like, oh no, maybe I'll have a female trainer. But then I was like, no, let's try something new. So I'm actually grateful that I have a male trainer. And I think that was kind of like the beginning of my journey as well. So it's you see those ads, you're like, should I do it? You actually do it, and then you get results later.
I love that. So tell us, who is your trainer and tell us what it means to you to have like a personal coach.
Yeah, my personal trainer is Ryan. I absolutely adore him. I have been with him for oh wow, about 18 months, like actually a bit more than that. And it's been funny because I think initially I got to, as I said, a catch-22 where I had other personal trainers before, and I also did some like strength training for like 5 years on and off. But I just really wanted to get to my goal, and also I needed consistency, like actually to be accountable of myself. And by having Ryan, he's such a cool guy. He's actually a part of my program as well, which I'm so grateful for. And he's just been like my biggest champion. I think some people always think like, oh, is this a coach? It's not. You really build your relationship with your coach or personal trainer, and they are kind of like embedded into your life because I mean, I speak to him probably more than I speak to a lot of my friends because I'm making sure like how my week is going, how I adjust my workouts, and just how I'm managing any stresses that come along, and just also how do I show up for myself when I'm actually exercising and afterwards as well. So I feel like the relationship that I have with him has just taken one level of being his client, but also having opportunities like doing a study with you guys and other things that's come about as well.
So basically, what you're saying is Ryan is a horrible, horrible trainer, right?
No,
Okay,
Ryan
this
is
is
the best. Ryan's raw talk. I've had how many trainers to trainers. I've gone for it. I think I've had like 3 male personal trainers. They were crap. I had one female who's a Joanna. She's a part of my team. She's amazing. She was amazing to help me to understand how to do the form. I think people always go a bit crazy, like, oh, I need to have big weights. I'm like, progressive overload takes time, but it's really about making sure your form's correct so you can actually do the exercises and not injure yourself. But Ryan has been able to like take me from like here and all the way up. So I'm extremely grateful to him. He's literally like a big champion for me, I'd say.
Do you
Yeah.
remember when we had Ryan on the podcast and he talked about like good traits of a trainer? Remember that?
Yeah, Ryan is awesome. We love Ryan here. And honestly, I love to hear what you're saying about building that relationship with your trainer, because that is something at Trainwell that we really care deeply about. Is it's not just about the workouts.
Yeah.
It's about someone who is, like you said, your champion, your support system, someone who's going to hold you accountable to the changes that you want to make in your life, and then they're going to help you write that program that works best for you at any given moment. And I love to hear that that's your experience, because that is what we deeply care about, is building those authentic relationships and making fitness work for people.
Yes.
Not the way we want it to work, the way that it actually works for them. So I'm so glad that you shared that, and I'm so glad that that has been your experience.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I've never done a fitness program before. I just want to put that out there. My business was always about preventative healthcare, bringing communities together, sustainability, reducing their food waste, and just, a lot of marginalized communities that have low income, and just bring people together. But this year, I challenged myself to be like, in fact, it was actually my sister that said, you should do a fitness program. I was like, Michelle, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know. I need to find the money first. Like, what the hell? But then it was really good. I said, right, I'm going to do it. And, we had some rejections at the beginning, but then someone funded us, which was a big funder. And I was just like, I just want to try. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm using a lot of my own knowledge, not only just as a public health nutritionist, but also as a person who works out and also had a goal. And then I think that's kind of what formed. And I really did ask Ryan so many things. Like, he has been very big supportive to me on this program, because especially when it comes to having such a intergenerational community of women, especially women of color, you want to have a safe space. You want to be able to bring people together, different backgrounds, but also build this beautiful community that we've been able to do. And I'm just so proud of my ladies, honest to God. I'm proud of my Trainwell team, because I definitely know that it would have been a really big struggle to do this without them as well.
That's awesome, Nureen. Yeah. It's all about community, isn't it? Like whoever
Mm-hmm.
your tribe is, your circle, it just brings you up. I want to thank you so much for sharing that about your Trainwell experience too. Please ask Ryan about the Chicago Bears. Okay. You have to ask him about the Chicago
You
Bears.
The
don't.
thing
You don't
is, the
have to.
Chicago Bears are in London. Like, my boyfriend, he's a Minnesota Vikings fan.
Oh,
And I think that,
yes.
yeah, the Bears came over. It was a bit mayhem that weekend for in London. Yeah, let's just say that.
Well, anyways, I'm curious to hear about this Feed Me Good. You have to talk to us about your program. You have to talk to us about all that. So where should we start with that? You want to just jump in?
Yeah, so Feed Me Good she's like 12 years old, and the 1st of January. So it'll be 12 years since I've been doing this business. And I think the idea really came about because I wanted to make people healthy and happy. That's always what it's been, like happy and healthy people, bringing communities together, and just like utilizing my superpower, which is taking food and matching it to nutrition, and really breaking down the elements around health inequalities, but also from a nutritional literacy aspects of it as well. Because I feel like when we go, it might be the same in America as well, because I have to kind of learn about these things for my master's. But I think when we go to our doctors, we don't always know what the measurements are when they tell us that, blood pressure or blood glucose level or anything else like that. So just really breaking down the technical aspects of nutrition and public health, and making it accessible, but really bring in the cultural aspect of it as well, because I'm a chef first. So although I'm a public health nutritionist, I am a chef, and I've been that since I was 16, so quite a long time. And well, really long time actually. And it's a thing of like making sure that people can eat good. I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, I gotta be on a diet. Listen, girl, I ain't gonna do nothing to that. I want you to eat food,
Mhm.
you know? I want to feed you good, and that's probably why my business is called that. So we've been running for 12 years nearly, over 6,500 students we've taught, different ages across London, outside of London. We've done a lot of work with like ambassador stuff with IKEA, the Eden Project, like really amazing programs. But also we had funding for like National Lottery and other things like that. I think what's been really nice is that I've been able to transition with the demographics over time. So we did a lot of children's programs and families, but what we found was women were always like 93% of our demographic that came to our programs. So I was like, do you know what? While I'm doing this master's, let me really focus on preventative healthcare for women and really dominate that space by making things more accessible. And I think that's kind of like how it came about. And it's weird because you think, oh, you're going to do nutrition, but exercise, physical activity always comes into it. Like you cannot do diet without physical
Mhm.
activity. It goes hand in hand. And the more that I learn, the more that I'm like, okay, actually, I need to really incorporate it. And that's why I had this idea of doing the Women's Fit program. And I might need to change the name to Queen's Fit program because our ladies are all queens. And what's been quite cool about this is that I've taken 32 inactive women, like women that don't do any exercises, ages between 25 to 71. And they've come together from different backgrounds in my borough of London, well, in London, but it's an area called Brent. And they've been able to come together through weekly classes. We've done like Pilates, Samba. We're going to do belly dancing next month, and we've also done like sound bath. And then I think 22 of them has had train well personal trainers, and that's been amazing. Like when I think about like digital inclusion, a lot of my women, I think about 35% of them are over the ages of 65, and for them to be able to be clued up on how to use the app. And like we made some mistakes at the beginning, but it's fine. And everyone's just been cheering, and they're actually one of our big like getting things done, always coming to class. And we have different other demographics, like I think about 43% is roughly around the age range between 24 to 34. So it's been, no, yeah, 34. So it's been like a mixture, but it's just been really good. You know, I'm just so proud. Like, our ladies have literally been coming from not exercising at all, and now they're doing like between 3 to 4 days and 5 to 6 days. That's literally breaks up most of our stats. So it's been really incredible, and I want to continue. Don't want it to stop because I'm like 24 weeks is too short. We have to continue with them, you know, at least a year.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for doing this. Truly, I feel so much gratitude that this is the work that you are doing in the world because it is so meaningful. And I want to ask you what like health means to you personally, because I do think
Mm,
being in the fitness industry, having been in the fitness industry for my entire career,
yeah.
I am sometimes disheartened. I'm sometimes disheartened by what the meaning of health takes on, which could be so aesthetic, which could be so elitist. And really, actually, health health is so much bigger than just, how you look. And I think in the fitness
Mhm,
industry that can get conflated at times. And I think that fitness is truly for everyone, but it doesn't
mhm,
always appear that way in this industry. And what you are doing is making fitness accessible and making it meaningful. Health. And so, what
mhm.
does health mean to you personally?
So for me, health is to see. So last year I got diagnosed with glaucoma. So I'm half blind and half deaf and dyslexic. And I put that out there, not as a way to feel pity, because I don't do that crap, but it's a
Mhm.
way that when I got my diagnosis, no, it's true, because you'll be amazed. When I got my diagnosis last year, and I may remember having conversations with Ryan, I was like, you know, they was saying all sorts of stuff. Oh, you can go blind. I was like, what the hell? I ain't got time for that. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. But I had to really change my own habits. Like I started working out 6 days a week. Right now I do about five. I'll do a couple of double sessions for my classes. And for me, it was like, you can't, that's like a loss of power. So for me, like health is everything, not because the communities that I'm building and the education that I'm instilling, but actually, like, everyone deserves health. And it's
Yeah.
the same. The thing is, it's so funny because it's the same thing that happens with us in health, that we have these fab diets. There's constantly new things that's coming about. Now we've got a lot of these, weight medications and so forth. And I think we really have lost the aspects of what is health and what is fitness. Health is being able to wake up in the morning being grateful. Health is being able to, utilize your body and actually put a lot of preventative healthcare inside, or practices inside. Habits that form from your exercises that, reduces your anxiety, depression, or any of those feelings, and actually empowers you to feel very positive and happy. So I think health and fitness, it is basically hand in hand. I wouldn't even separate it, because the benefits that you get from moving your body, and that's what I literally focused on this whole time, like, just focus on moving your body, everything else will start to come into place. And that really helped me to draw that into my women as well.
Gosh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Isn't she amazing, Darian? We're so lucky to have you on. Okay, you mentioned
Thank you.
Yeah.
self-pity there. That is huge, because there's people listening out there who won't take the next step, right?
Mm,
Because they're just stuck in this trap of like, I need to do all this at once, or they'll feel
mm,
sorry for themselves. Yeah, we're having a conversation with someone who's had all these, you were blind in one eye, you said you can't hear out
yes.
of one eye, and you're dyslexic,
One of
and
you.
yet you're
Mhm.
still leading the charge. Like, tell us, how did you escape out of that? Tell us how to promote that in people, to give them will, to give them vision. How do you go about that?
So, funny story, I actually recorded 21 lessons that I learned, and it's talking about the weight loss. But I think the only thing that I done was just focus on movement. I think sometimes it's like this whole, we're coming towards the end of the year, New Year's resolutions, absolute crap. I just think you just focus on the habit you want to do. So my thing was focus on moving. Don't think of anything else. Don't think about your food. Don't think about anything else. Just moving your body. And I found that that was like the thing that catapulted me to the next level. And when I was and the funny thing is, my ladies found the same. So when they were moving their bodies and I was moving my body, because I was in class with them, because I was like, we're going to do this together, they started asking me questions about nutrition. Like, oh, we're moving our bodies now. So actually, Nureen, I would love if you start to give us the nutrition aspect. And I said, yeah. And it's funny because as a public health nutritionist, we always focus on doing the diet first and not having the fitness. But actually, if you do the fitness first, then it actually makes the diet happen naturally.
I
Yeah.
always
I
joke
love
that the
that.
only time fitness comes before health is in the dictionary. But Dee, take it away.
I am a big fan of fitness first, movement first. You can
Mm-hmm.
move your anyone can, do something to move their body, and everything counts as movement. Any movement is good movement. And I appreciate that it sounds like you took it just one step at a time and you got
Yeah.
that ball rolling. And once the momentum was going, it was so much easier to add on those other health promoting habits. Was that what your experience
Yeah.
was?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a couple things that I learned. So like moving my body, and then it was adding different exercises. So I love strength training. Like I'm always doing it. I love progressive overload. I
Yeah.
love to lift heavy. I feel there's a real big misconception with women all ages that for they can't lift, they're going to be gaining like some big muscle. I'm like, do you know how hard it is to build muscle? Come on, whatever. Seriously. And I think like it's a thing where for me, I've started to add in Samba because I love dance and I
Yeah.
always wanted to do it. And I found my London school of Samba, which I go to. Then I was like, you know what? I'm very double jointed, so I want to do bar. So I started adding bar in. And then now I've kind of got like a mixture of different exercises that I do to support train well. And it's quite nice because in my week, like right now, I'm very busy with revision, but I'm like, I have to get my train well done, at least that, because that's just for my sanity. And then afterwards, I can tackle everything else. So I definitely feel like just focusing on the exercises will support you with other habits that will happen, but you have to be consistent and you
Yeah.
will mess up. It's part of life,
Hmm.
because when you build new habits, it takes 90 days. It's not taking 3 weeks, it takes a good time, but just keep focusing on that one thing and you will get there.
Except for me, Noreen, I never mess up. I never make mistakes. I am
Yeah.
100% Joe on the spot. I you've hit on some really good things there, especially strength training and lifting heavy. We really want to get to that, but I have to highlight here because you're being too modest and humble. You've lost 18 kilograms in 7 months, and you mentioned
Yeah.
some lessons along the way. That is huge. That is amazing, and I guarantee you your strength numbers went up. Right. So I want you to take a moment and share more lessons you learned. I heard consistency. I heard momentum. You got to get Uncle Mo in your life. Mo money, Mo results, Mo this, right? So tell us, keep going with that. What are some other lessons you learned or you'd like to share from that 18 kilograms
Yes.
in 7 months?
I
That's amazing.
know. Oh my God. Do you know how long it's taken me? It's taken me time. Do you know how nice is to know that I'm going into 2026 slimmer and healthier and stronger? Like that is for me is just so much of like everything. So I think the second thing that I learned is you need to protect your space. I think sometimes when we share our goals too much, they get lost. Like 40, you need to make sure that you protect your space by, if you have a goal of moving your body, just do that in silence. Like just do it yourself. And then afterwards, you can start to incorporate people if you want to. And I think that for me was very important because I feel like people will have their energies and they'll be like, oh, you can't do it. And they'll give you excuses and then it adds on to, and that it adds on to the excuse, right? So the first thing is definitely like just keep it to yourself, protect your space. You know, you'll be amazed how much negative vampires can come around and no holy water or even garlic will be able to save you. So it's better for you to do that. I think the third thing that I learned was walking and talking was really helpful, especially like if I was feeling like a bit of a crappy day, going for a walk, just even 40 minutes really helped to just kind of like lessen my mood, but also walk and talk with my sister. Like we and her will go out and we just literally catch up. So it's like a nice way of just sisterly talk, but also having that fresh air and getting out the house, which was really good. And I'd also say for portion control, which I have some bowls here. I had a little class about a couple of weeks ago with my ladies, and I was saying to them, listen, yeah, I know we all use food like culture, we bring food, we want to feed everyone, but our plates are killing us. So I banned everyone having a large plate, and you'll see why. So I basically have like this small bowl, as you can see, is quite small, but I wanted them to have smaller amounts of rice because rice is life and well for our community especially, and I found that unless you're going to dress it up with fiber it's kind of like empty carbs, so I really wanted them to like have this, so everyone has this little IKEA bowl and I can tell, you know, then I know that they're actually having small amounts, and also just showing them a way of having portion control that's actually a bit of a cheat, as a saying like, oh, I need you to reduce your calorie intake and stuff like that. And then I also said, you know, have like a soup bowl just kind of to help you out, and I said this is going to be like your salad bowl, but you can see it's not that large, but you can have a good amount of food in there. But I said for the food aspect of it, one of the key things that I realized besides my lovely portion control was fueling your body for the days you work out. That was really big for me. So instead of just doing like meal prep throughout the whole week, just meal prep for the days you work out. And that was really helpful because I was like, okay, I know that I'm going to do these days. So I need to have extra protein on those days, extra fiber on those days. And I would just do, and then I would basically be like, okay, I want to have that. And then I'll say the last thing I was thinking like, what is the most important thing that I learned from the 20? Letting go of the old you. That person has brought you here and you really need to let that person go. You're not going to be walking into the person you were always meant to be if you keep holding on to the things that don't serve you. And that was
Yeah.
like a really huge thing. So even like me being 18 kilos, slimmer, I had to, when I look in my mirror, I'm like, oh, I'm like, I'm not the old Nureen that I was before. So I'd say if I had to go, so the first thing is focusing on your movement, just move your body. Second thing is, doing the walk and talk. That's going to really help you. Your portion control is also going to really help you. Getting rid of any like distractions or negative, like protect your space. And the last thing is just meal prep for the days you're working out. You don't need to do 5 days. No one has time. Do you know I had to do a cookery book because no one had time? Everyone keeps telling me, oh my God, I can't, no time to cook. All my meals are literally under 45 minutes. You've got no excuses, you
That's
know?
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So, okay, what I'm hearing, what I love that I'm hearing is it doesn't sound like you did anything extreme or restrictive.
Mhm.
Like these were all things that are sustainable. Like the walk and
Yes.
talk, for example. It's like, yeah, you if you're talking to a friend anyway, might as well go for a walk. Making fitness fun, finding the things you enjoy to do. Like you enjoy dancing, you enjoy doing those bar classes because you're
Mhm.
flexible, and it's not like forcing yourself into this like mold of what should be, or some fad thing you saw on social media. And even with the meals, it's not like you're saying get rid of the rice, because food is part of how we connect with others. It is part of culture. You're saying, okay, maybe just have a smaller portion and add fiber to it. Like these are all very practical, sustainable habits. And I'm curious, from doing all of these things,
Mhm.
outside of the weight loss, what did you gain from adding these healthy habits to your life?
Amazing digestion. Oh God. Like literally my gut is really happy with me, which is very important for me. And also I would say, what else did I gain? I think I had like a confidence that it's funny, right? Because I'm a mum. I've got a 20-year-old. I'm doing my masters right now. I have a business and I've got my partner. I still have lots of things that I'm doing, and obviously the program. And I think for me, mentally, having pulled in so many different directions, I think the biggest thing that I learned was to put myself first. You see, when you exercise, it's not that you're just exercising, that's your time to yourself. So I always do it in the morning so I can be start my day right, and it could just literally like get me right for the rest of the day. So for me, it's just always been a thing where putting myself first was the biggest achievement that I've had from this journey. And that's one habit that I'm not taking away. Because I think as a woman, we're all like caregivers, we look after everyone, we're pulled in so many different directions, we're everything to everyone, we want to save everyone. And then it's like, what about ourselves? And that's why we're having so much more prevalence of like, non-chronic diseases, like from type 2 diabetes even to fibroids, because we're not taking care of ourselves when we should put ourselves first. It's not selfish, it's life. You have
Yeah.
to.
Women, yeah, you need to. I think what you said there, like women tend to care for everybody. You guys are nurturing, and my wife will give me a solid stiff arm to be like, you watch the kids, I'm gonna work out. You
Mhm.
cook, I'm gonna relax. So that's good. And your whole feed me good is based on women, which is awesome. And that leads me to my next point here: strength training and women. Please break down what the myth is, and please teach us something that what lifting heavy does for you.
Mhm. So let's start with the first thing. So when you do strength training, it's very good for your heart health, yeah. So your cardiovascular, right? That's the first thing we say, heart health and so forth. But actually, there's actually the thing called the hope molecule. So hope molecule is basically like a neurotransmitter that connects. It's like your brain with your muscle barrier. So your brain barrier with your muscles. So they kind of talk to each other, and they're like, I'm going to give you this really amazing feeling of dopamine and serotonin, but I'm also going to make you feel even more euphoric. So after you do strength training, your hope molecule is literally boosted. Imagine like in your body, because I kind of see it as a city, like everyone has a specific job. So like your gut is like the airport, like Gutwick, so to speak. And everything that you eat kind of flies in, and then different airlines, and then it will go to different parts of your body. But when you strength train, it's like the muscles are like your bin, because it takes like a lot of the blood sugars, like the glucose and so forth, and goes straight into your muscles first, and then it goes other parts of your body. But if you're not strength training, when as women we tend to lose a lot of our muscle after like over 35. So it's really important between like 36 to 46 to build up that muscle, but also it's going to help with your bone density, which is also really important, especially for like preventing osteoporosis and so forth. And I'd also say like with strength training, you're going to also feel not only just amazing, but your digestive system, your whole body is going to be working really nicely. There was one of the famous doctors in America, and she was basically saying that it's not that we're obese, it's that we're under muscled. I'll get her name after, but yeah, you probably seen it, but it's actually really true. And I thought to myself, like, obesity, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, a lot of them all have either less muscle or a lot of insulin resistance. That's like the trifecta that goes around it. So by increasing your muscle, you're able to actually extract what your body needs, and it's the first bit you want to feel. And then obviously it'll help you for, like, less falls and so forth like that. A lot of the women in my program have like different complex health issues. And for me, it's very important for them to do strength training, from ages 65 and upwards, or even before that. So I feel like strength training is important. One thing I would say is that when you are doing strength training, if you're losing fat, it takes time. It's not going to be a thing where you're going to be gaining muscle and then losing fat to get. It takes time. Like even a few percentages takes time. Like 1% or 2% of body fat takes time to reduce when you're building muscle. So you have to be very patient with your body in that time as well.
Yeah, I think it's so important what you just said about the time. And I think that's like for me anyway, I really like to steer my clients towards not just the outcome, but the
Hmm.
process, because it does take time. So you have to find the joy in just doing the movement for movement's sake. The joy
Yes.
in just eating nourishing foods because it feels good in your body, because you might not see some outcome that you're looking for a while. And so you have to have that intrinsic motivation and that just joy in the process of building these health promoting habits, and how that feels, confidence wise, power wise, the time for you just in the process of doing it. So I'm really glad that you mentioned that. Um, Joey, do you want to take us to
Well, I have a question real quick. It's the
Hmm. Sure.
hope molecule. Is that what you said?
Yeah, the
HOPE?
hope molecule. Yeah, so hope, so HOPE. Yeah. So I found out about that about a year ago, and it was literally talking about the brain barrier and the muscle connection. So every time you do strength training, it's basically like breaks through and increases that, so you feel even more incredible. Because I was like, why? I just want to finish my train well, yeah. Why am I feeling even amazing? Like, what's going on here? It's literally your antidepressant. Do you know strength training is literally your antidepressant? So that's basically what the hope molecule is all about. And that's why I was like, nah, everyone needs to be doing strength training. And I
yeah,
tell them, please stop taking these half dead 2 kilo dumbbells. Because let's be honest, yeah, flour weighs
let's
way more than that. Children may weigh way more than that. So it's like, pick up like 6, pick up 8. Don't be scared. You're not going to hurt yourself. You're going to be okay. But at least start with minimum 5 to 6. I'm so done. I see so many girls and they're just doing like nothing. Like, what? I don't understand. And I'm trying to like get higher in my, my deadlifts and everything else. Like, what are you doing? Come on.
But Noreen, I
great.
don't want to get big and bulky when I strength train. Help me.
But, but that is just such a myth, because I'm like, I just want to gain more muscle. Like right now, I want to get to at least 50%, well, more than 50% of my actual overall body composition. So when they say things about, I want to be like, oh, bulky. But why do women always want to just work on their bums? Like, you need to have everything, your
Great
back, your
question.
shoulders. I never understood that. But I think, yeah, it's not going to happen that way. We don't have we do not have enough testosterone in our system to be making as much muscles like men do. So that's the first thing, So yeah, no.
Yeah, I love it. And also, like I've said this 1,000 times on the podcast, but what is so wrong with looking muscular for women? I
Yes,
don't know where
yes.
where that started, but truthfully, like I love looking muscular, and I would love even just the women to embrace that
Mhm.
that is a look that we're going for. And I think that we could all just, put this myth to rest and never talk about it again, honestly.
Yeah. But I think also, do you know what it is as well? Like, I think we're in a day and age where everyone wants to cheat. Like, they don't always want to do the hard work, which is
Hmm.
like the joys of building that muscle. If they
Yeah.
knew how much protein they need to have, or how much fiber or probiotic or prebiotic foods they need to incorporate into their diet, or how the importance of sleep is really important. Like when you're resting is equally as important as you doing the strength training. I think if they understood that more, it would be like, oh, actually, me gaining that muscle, I will have more respect for that, because it takes so long to build it, so much effort as well.
I'm kind of getting sad because we could talk for hours here. And before I know time's going to go like that. And I have to ask you as a chef, some nutritionist,
Yeah.
chef questions. Okay. And the
Sure.
first one that comes to mind is, tell me what the biggest mistakes you see in the general population when it comes to nutrition or even cooking. Like fast food. Should I go to McDonald's? Should
Yeah.
I is that faster? Is that better? It's cheaper, they say.
Yeah, do you know what? It's so funny because like now that I'm learning my masters, I get to know a bit more about like systems thinking, especially how the urban developments happen when it comes to the areas. And I want to say, touch on that before I make my point. So when you have like different areas, if you've got more deprived areas or affluent areas, you can kind of look around and see the abundance of maybe like chicken and chips or like well, we have a lot of chicken and chip shops in the UK, but I'd say McDonald's, Burger Kings and so forth like that. And then if you go for more affluent areas, you'll have more healthier foods like Whole Foods and other places like that. So the thing is, depending on where you live, it's going to really much, and obviously your socioeconomic status and other factors, it's going to really impact the affordability and accessibility of the food you have available. Now, it's not to say that we can't all eat healthy food, we can, but I think what I've learned over the years is that everyone has their own definition of what is healthy food to them individually. So when I talk like as a public health nutritionist, who I am, we have this thing in the UK, say like eat well plate and 5 a day, which is like a plate that shows you the different food groups and so forth. But the problem we have now is all these messages have basically been lost. So it's not necessarily about going for the junk food. It's basically what's readily available and in front of your face. So it's like the social determinants of health or the commercial determinants of health. It's in front of you, so it influences you. So you don't always have a chance because it's literally in front of you. But I think the main thing that I would like to take away from this is that you can make delicious food at home. Like I've got a 3-step system: family classics, restaurant inspired meals, and wildcard meals. So family classics is what I would say for any of the dishes that I love to cook and my family loves that of my traditional food. And then restaurant inspired is like, I want to have that McDonald's, but I want to make it healthier. I want to have this takeaway, but I want to make it healthier. And then the last one is wildcard meals, which is either like I fancy something new or I want to utilize whatever I've got in the cupboard because I need to use it before it goes off. And I think time is really of the essence because people want convenience. That's why they go for a lot of like, highly processed ultra foods because it's convenient or it seems convenient, but that's a myth. A lot of the foods, it doesn't take long for you to make like a meal prep of like some vegetables, cook your rice, freeze it so you make into resistant starches, and then pull it into blocks with your meat, make your marinade, your sauce. It's just about being organized. And I think that's the best way to tackle it. Like you need to match your health to your life, like your health first and your life around it. Because what we do is we put our life and then we put our health low at the last bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so interesting. I'm loving what you're saying about it. It does depend on the person's life circumstances, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we can't just enforce just one blanket, this is how you should eat, because not everybody has access to that. Not everybody's body is the same. I always talk about I have a client who has type 1 diabetes. What she
Mm-hmm.
needs to have access to and what's going to be life saving for her is sugar
Yeah.
sometimes, often.
Mm-hmm.
So to say just blanket statement, this is not healthy. Well, what's not healthy to one is going to be life saving to another. What one has
Exactly.
access to, another doesn't. And we have to be adaptable and make, healthy, nutritious foods work for everyone. And I love that 3-step process and taking that into account. And if people could just put a little bit of effort onto the front end to get organized, to get prepared, it really
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be harder to make those nourishing meals. I appreciate that sentiment so much.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah. So I'm curious if we should move into some of these. Um, Joey, I'm sorry, I'm messing up our whole flow, but where do you want to go from here? Because I know you had some questions about GLP-1 as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Well, here I'm trying to take notes. The family classics before we end on food. Family
Wild
classic,
card, yeah, wild card meals.
work hard
Wild,
meals,
Wild card.
wild
wild
card
cuts.
meals. Yeah, wild cards. So wild card meals.
So I
Yeah.
can't go buy like farm raised shrimp anymore, huh? Dang it, it's
No,
on
you
sale.
can buy whatever, but do you know what it is? It's like I think public health is losing. in the UK, we've been lost, yeah, and that's why my organization has been going for so long, and I've been doing this for over 21 years next year, and I feel like we keep saying all these messages about healthy eating, and we give out leaflets, we show websites, but people are really needing help. And the thing is like I can't just say, oh, preventative healthcare, and I don't include your culture. Like, where you from? The Philippines. Oh, you love Ube. You got this. Oh, where you from? The Caribbean. Oh, you've got. Do you understand? So it's very much important that we look at the cultural aspects of it, but we also look at what's available, and then we tailor it. Because I don't want it to be a thing where people just be like, oh, healthy. It's gimmicky. Health is gimmick now.
Mhm.
Fitness is gimmick, health is gimmick, and it's sad, but it shouldn't be that way. But then the prevalence of different health issues skyrocket. We have more and more problems when it comes to our budgets as well as NHS or health inequality. So it's very much important to change that narrative, but empower people with the knowledge that they say, okay, I'm going to take that information, I'm going to adapt it into my family, I'm going to make it work for us.
You want to bring up the? By the way, we can edit this, Nureen. I
Sure,
thank
yeah,
you.
sure, sure.
I totally forgot about the GLP ones. So
So,
yeah,
Joey, why don't you take us there?
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Noreen, in the United States, right,
Mhm.
there's been a drug and a few drugs established that, and they're very controversial. I have my own thoughts, and I'm sure everybody else does, right? But it's these GLP ones that
Mhm.
have, from what I understand, that they were originally designed to help with diabetes,
Mhm.
but now they also help curb hunger, right? And so this is what has led people to lose a lot of weight. And so, from my perspective, right, a lot of people hate on it, like, oh, they don't want to work hard. Oh, they want to do this. It
Mhm.
eats all the muscle. It's a way. But I personally think it should be welcomed when that it's not done to a, the chase a certain thing that you shouldn't be chasing, right? Like an aesthetic, or you're putting again your fitness before your health, right? I think
Mhm.
that it can be misused. But anyways, walk us through how you feel about GLP ones and how they're different in the UK as opposed to the United States.
Yeah, so GLP-1s, the main two that we have, this is out of pocket. So we've got the NHS, which is a National Health Service. And from what I know, I'm speaking to colleagues as well, a lot of it, they are mainly prescribing it for a certain demographic that have a BMI over 33, I think it is, or even 35. So it's basically high, more morbidly obese. And then also mainly type 2 diabetes patients is mainly getting the actual medication. Most of the time, from what I can see, there's two ways. So the first way is a lot of people are selling it on TikTok, or they're getting like, recommending pharmacies, like, ones like Med Express or these other ones. And then a lot of the supermarkets are also doing it, like Asda's and so forth. And then we have the GLP-1 stickers that it's like a public health warning of a yellow, which is very much readily sold on like TikTok. So it's kind of got a bit out of control, if I'm being honest with you. I think the issue that I have with GLP-1s is that it doesn't change the person's habits fully. You only change the eating habits because you're basically reducing your appetite, that's one, but your digestion is very much slowed down. And if you do not have fiber and also making sure you have enough nutrients, it's going to be a huge problem. So your protein, your fiber, extremely important, good healthy fats, kind of the things you would have for a healthy diet anyway. Another thing is, it feels like everyone is just taking the medication. Well, some people are taking the medication, but they don't always want to do the exercise. And I think for you having a long-term effect, that if you want to get off the GLP-1, you need to incorporate your habits first if you are going to go onto it. So, do the strength training, do the walking, do whatever movements you want to do. And then also, looking at what foods you do have before, because you can understand what your food noises are and what you're gravitating towards as well. So I feel like I don't think it's a bad thing. I just feel like, especially for the UK right now, and this is why I want to be providing our online platform, is just making sure that we give people the health aspects of it, the nutrition that they need. Like, this is what you need to eat. this is the kind of different foods. If you've got hypertension, type 2 diabetes or others, please incorporate these exercises in the foods and so forth. Because I've seen like one lady, I'm not going to say any names, and she was just promoting like, oh yeah, you can get the GL, you can get the, we've got discount codes and all these things. And I'm like, you want to be addicted to this? Like, what happens if you want to come off it? Like, what are you going to do afterwards? If you gain all this weight back, then you're going to be absolutely pissed off because you're like, I just literally gained all the weight back. But then what habits did you do to prevent yourself from maybe gaining at least less than 25% of it? Like, you have to exercise. It's non-negotiable, and you need to eat right, because I having like ultra processed oily foods and so forth, a lot of fried foods, you're just basically having the same habits you did that got you to this stage in the first place, as opposed to just dealing with that issue and actually getting healthier.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is so important about the habits, because the thing is, with every weight loss method that has come about so far, even surgical methods,
Mm-hmm.
people gain the weight back. Even with the GLP-1s, if you go off
Mm-hmm.
as it stands right now, if you go off a GLP-1, you gain the weight back.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to exercise, there are so many more reasons to exercise than losing weight. It is health promoting,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of whether someone loses weight from exercise. So, whether or not you're on a GLP-1, I almost just see it as like a tool, one tool in your toolbox, along with eating nourishing foods, along with educating yourself,
Mm-hmm.
along with moving your body. And also, I will just say, like, mental health therapy,
Yeah.
because losing weight does not mean all of a sudden that you feel great about your body. If you are
Yeah.
struggling with body image issues or any other body issues, it's a mental game. So regardless of that, I think you're absolutely right. Still doing all of those health promoting habits is like key to success. And success does not just mean losing weight. It means having a healthier lifestyle in general.
Yeah. And even just to add on to that as well, it's a thing where like, so costing wise, how much it was for the UK, because I did a little bit of research as well, and I got a few patients who have it. So if you're not on the NHS, it's going to cost you, if it's like wavy, it's like how much? About 169 pounds. But if you are doing, say, like a 10 mg, and this is like an asthma because I was trying to get some prices, you're paying up to £300. You're paying £300 plus, like, because of the tariffs with Monjaro, it's gone skyrocket. I think it's like 117% that it went up by. And, right now we are in a cost of living crisis. Well, we've gone kind of beyond that, but right now we've had our new budget, and it is very expensive to live, let alone have this available. And also the NHS then might not necessarily gonna have this as a weight loss method in the future, because it's quite expensive. Even if you have out-of-pocket costs for the individuals, it's like a band-aid. You're just having a temporary band-aid, but what are you doing to the root causes that made you this way in the first place? So I think it's really important that people really look at their habits first. I don't have a problem with it, but I just feel like your habits have to come first, especially for long-term effects.
Yes, you hit it on the head with habits. And I got one thing to add to that. You know what doesn't cost 300 pounds is letting go of the new you. Going for a walk and talk with your sister. Everyone could do that, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's that's free healthcare right there. But I want to conclude with some overrated and underrated topics, if that's okay with Nureen.
sure.
Darren, why don't you kick us off? We're gonna pick probably three each, and we want to do this like a speed round. Okay, so like hit it and give an explanation, and we'll move on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that sounds great. So, overrated or underrated buying frozen fruits and vegetables?
Oh no, they are very underrated. So this is a food science is coming out because I did that before. So when you pick any of your fruit and vegetables, they're frozen straight away, and then you save about 70% of its nutritional content. So as soon as you have it frozen, you get more quantity, but also you get more nutrients compared to if you buy it fresh. So if you can get like at least all your frozen berries, for the anthocyanins, the vitamin C's, and so forth like that. So definitely get your berries frozen, and get a lot of your broccoli, cauliflower, other vegetables as best you can frozen as well.
Okay. Overrated, underrated. TikTok food trends as a source of nutrition advice.
God, I think it depends on the person who says it. Because I love like TikTok trends when it comes to a lot of the foods. It's kind of inspirational. But a lot of times, sometimes they have like high salt. It just depends on who's making the food. So I'll probably say like a 50-50. If it's like a public health nutritionist or dietitian actually giving it and it's actually flavorful, then great, because they'll at least be able to have the science behind it. But if it's just like, oh, I'm going to have the cottage cheese with this and that, and it's like, I'm lactose intolerant. I can't have that. So, it really much depends on the person who makes it or the health
Awesome.
professional.
Okay, overrated, underrated. Organic food as the
Mm.
healthy option.
Okay, so I would say underrated. However, there's a lot of laws that bypass when it comes to having like certified organic or not. I'm a big fan believer in just buying from your farmers if you're able to. So if you're able to get directly from your farmers, from the fruit and vegetables or your meat or whatever, that's going to be much more better because hopefully they will be organic. I find that a lot of times it's what's accessible.
Yeah.
It's literally that, if you can't afford to buy organic, but you're able to get foods and you're able to mix it up with other things like hibiscus flower and other foods, then that's great. But I really think it's about the circumstances of the person's income.
For
Okay,
sure.
Nureen, skipping breakfast, overrated, underrated.
I think it's okay. I don't say necessarily to skip breakfast because I don't actually have my first meal until about 12 because I do a bit of fasting in the morning just to kind of give myself a good digestion. But I feel like your first meal, this is non-negotiable. It has to have 30 grams of protein, at least, 10 to 15 grams of fiber. And I need to get that probiotic. So having that 30 grams of probiotic throughout the day is really like a non-negotiable. So I say your first meal needs to be jam-packed. Otherwise, if you give yourself tons of carbs or high sugary foods, then your body and your brain expects to have that throughout the day.
That's great. Okay, last one. And I feel like might be a hard one for you because I feel like
Hmm.
it depends, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, overrated or underrated plant-based meat alternatives.
Oh God, no. um, yeah, no, no, because a lot of them have like wheat. Like I'm gluten intolerant, so it's like just tons of like seitan and just tons of like wheat based ones or pea proteins and so forth. I feel like I love meat. I would never tell anyone not to have meat. I just feel like when it comes to amino acids, it's good to have balance. Is what I would say. So yeah, no. But a lot of them don't always taste that nice ever, and they're very expensive for what it is. I'd rather just get the meat.
Get the meat. It's what's
Yeah,
for
get the
dinner,
meat and get the
baby.
fish and get the beans, get the
Yeah.
legumes, get like mix up your rice, like, mix up your vegetables, like do it that way. I think what I've learned the most is like we need to prioritize fiber. Like we keep
Yeah.
talking so much about protein, protein. Protein's amazing, but you need to go poo. We can't be doing these carnivore diets because we need to think about our health in the future. We need to be able to use our bowels nicely. So, and bowel cancer is on the right up when it comes to a lot of the communities, especially for men and also the Black community as well. So, it's very important for us to have adequate amounts of fiber of 30 grams a day for an adult.
I love that. Yeah, fiber. I used to train this GI doc. He always says, your stools tell you something. You better listen up.
Mhm.
Noreen, we want to thank you so much. We want to
Thank you.
send a big heartfelt thank you and for all your partnership with us. I want to ask you this last, where can people find you and go to find out more about Feed Me Good?
Yes, so I am on TikTok on Feed Me Good 16, and I'm also on my website called www.feedmegood.co.uk, and then my social media for Instagram is also Feed Me Good. So if you just put Feed Me Good or even my name, you'll see lots of pages come up. So it's quite accessible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was great.